I'm back again. We're gonna see if this works. There is some issues with OBS. I think. Well, I found something online that I'm hoping will have an effect on how this goes. So we'll find out in a minute if fixed. So what I've been told, well, after doing more Google searching, which I've done over and over and over again and changed a million things, I have hope because this one actually wasn't already off. They said turn off this feature of Windows. And so I went through and said, hey, look, this is on, so I'll turn it off and see if it fixes it. So at the moment, we're not frozen up. We can try this again. As usual, my paint period will probably be 30 minutes, maybe 45. I don't know. We'll see. Not too long. I am off today or tomorrow, so I might actually, do a little bit more later. But we'll see. Maybe tomorrow, maybe tonight. I don't know, but I will be going having a call. So see how wet my palette is. All these paints are. Can you see them? See that? Those paints are really wet. They're like puddles. This comes from. Well, what I'm told is, it comes from too much. Well, not too much water, but enclosing the paints in the water, and then the evaporation that happens inside, and it just kind of settles into your paints and makes them very wet. But notice how they're keeping very wet. So it's both good and bad. I was using the sheets that come with the app or come with the paints, and the paints just soak through the thing, and they'll start soaking into the sponge, and everything goes wrong with that. So that's not a good thing either. But so what I've been told is a way to fix this, and I couldn't do it because I was going to be gone for several days, and I knew they would just dry out completely. You can either leave the cover off for a little while, let dryness, just the dry air help out, or you can actually just leave it open a little bit, and that will help the paint to evaporate some of that moisture, and it'll start to dry up, and then you'll end, hopefully, if you get back to it quickly enough, it doesn't dry out completely. So let's try to stay in the. I'll try my best to stay in the camera. Additionally, although I'm putting in more of this paint here, I'll probably have to top it with some yellow, and I'm going to have to also do some black around his eyes. He's got black around his. I don't know if you can see right now. I'm not totally sure what your visibility is on this. Try to play with it. We'll see. I'll have to get some more black into the crevices of those eyes. But in the meantime, let's go ahead while that dries a little bit. I'm going to put more black around. So his eyes are actually, from what they flare out black. They've got like black that splurts out from his eyes. So let's see how that works. Let's see. I think this is my black here, if I remember correctly. Yep. So it kind of is. I'm just gonna try to see, kind of like that, where his eyes just kind of have this like flaring effect. I don't know. So I'll try to do it on the other eye too. And I probably want to darken up the black I had on there already. Yeah, there we go. Trying to give him that flare his eyes were asking for. Yep, way better. Okay, so next, gotta still get some more. Let's get some white on his teeth, huh? Whiten those teeth up. They may not have to be sparkly white, and maybe even could be a little bit of red on them, just to give them the impression that they've been eating. he's not malnourished. So we'll work on that next. How are we doing? Hey, we're not frozen yet, so that's good. That's holding up for the moment. Plasma red, which is not the color I'm looking for, but there it is. Making a mess here. So I primered all the tips of my bottles. This one's actually painted white. That one's just primer color. So I'm thinking I need to shake the bottle up and put a little bit of the actual color on there so I stop seeing the other color. You do that, it's actually kind of a cool idea. I mean, I didn't come up with it, but you know, you paint the lid so that you can see what color that is, right? You can't tell. I mean, this one you can kind of tell, it's pretty clear, but sometimes these dark colors, they just all look the same. Short of remembering where you put it on your palette. Now, with these are like, what do you call them, speed paints, or in Vallejo's case, they're called, express colors. Now, express colors are basically contrast paints, where you can, you put down a coat, and you have to put multiple coats if you want it to be one color, but they're meant to have highlights and that kind of thing going on in them. So let's put some tooth color. Now, what some people do is they use like a bone color instead. It's not actual tooth color, right? So I can add a white ink, or I'm going to use white only on here because I know that as a white ink, it's already kind of thin, and being thin means it's going to let the other color come through, which is going to turn his teeth, which are currently green, the color of his body, because that's what I primered it or base coated him in. I'm going to turn those kind of green, but since it's white, it's going to actually start looking a little bone-like, so it might not actually need to be all that terribly. We'll see how good this ink covers up those teeth. But so we're going to do, we're going to get a coat of this white on these teeth here, and we'll just see what happens when the green kind of soaks through. And they're going to look kind of not, because you don't want pure white teeth. I mean, what animal has perfectly clean white teeth, right? Much less a monster's probably been eating people and other monsters. Now I still got to color the inside of his mouth. Now I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, to be honest. Like his mouth should probably be something of a pink or something. And the trick with that's going to be, how the heck do I get my brush in there? Probably one reason why I would. I mean, I don't know that it's going to matter, because unless you're getting a light in there, you're not going to see his... I really can't see his mouth. Can't see the inside of his mouth very easily at all. And not all these teeth are green. Not all of them got the primer on them. So they're kind of dark colored. But once I noticed the white goes on really white, and then it dries, and it's very not white. It's just like it fades out. I'm going to need a couple coats of this white to get it to a dark enough state to be adequate for my needs. If it does stay too white, I will definitely have to do a kind of like a... I can't even see his tongue, but it is definitely seeing. I am seeing some green in there if I highlight it enough, so it's kind of hard. I might actually have to go in there with I don't know what. I don't even know if I can get his brush to go in there. It's a pretty narrow, small area. Let's go with pink. It's dark in there, it's gloomy in there, so let's go with a pink. Because I don't want to spend multiple colors. I was thinking about just doing red, but I think, here we go, familiar pink. I'm just going to stick that in there. It's already kind of dark, because I mean he's got primer and stuff inside his mouth. And this is just so that if somebody does look in, it doesn't look green. got a very narrow closed mouth, so I don't have a lot of room to play here. I'm going to soak up a lot of this and just kind of wash it in there good so that I can make sure it hits. Because I don't really have a lot of, like I said, I don't have a lot of playroom here. So it's really just going to be taking this brush, stuffing it down his throat. And then just trying to connect, trying to get it in there. That's pretty much it, man. I'm not gonna make a whole lot of scene out of this. I'll use a little red just in case I slopped on a little bit on his teeth. A little red on the gums here. Because I think I'm trying to get his gums. I just want to look kind of, have a little hint of bloodiness. Just he needs a little bloodiness. And I want him to look a little like he's had lunch. Still think it could be a little more pink in his mouth, but not exactly sure. Best idea. His mouth is still wet from just the original one. Alright. Let's go ahead and get some more white on his teeth, shall we? A coat of white on the outside. I might, like I said, go over it with some bone color if I feel like it's too much. For now. For now, we will go with this color. To get a decent coat of not green or black or whatever color is currently hovering around his teeth. I don't know what those are supposed to be. These little, like, I don't know if they're supposed to be tooths or what. This guy's got a lot of good detail in him. I am impressed by that, that's for sure. So, alright, so we got some teeth on him, so now he doesn't look quite so, I don't know, monocolored. he's got other stuff going on. Let's go ahead and get a little bit more yellow into his eyes. I do feel like a little yellow goes a long way. I need to mix this. There's a little too much settling going on here. Oh, not even the yellow I want. Let's go find another yellow. Let's find another yellow for him. Let's find, how about, I can go demonic yellow. I can go with, should have a yellow ink here somewhere. It's moon yellow, but that's going to be very yellow. And also very much going to overshadow some of his other colors here. Here we go. This yellow ink is almost exactly the same as, as that moon yellow, except it's just thinner. I mean, if I paint multiple coats of this, it comes out looking exactly like that. It's, at least to me, I mean, in my color range vision, it looks exactly the same. But it's just thinner. Lets whatever color's underneath through a lot more. Wait, did I grab the wrong one? I did. Grab the wrong one. That's the brown. This is the one I wanted. Red. A little bit more of this on there so I can... Just so it's more obvious. Okay. I'm going to go back to what I was doing. Yellow ink. Thin but shiny, which is good for eyes. Now there's supposed to be a black line that goes down the middle of his eye, and I'm going to put that in. I just been waiting until I get the eye to the color I want exactly. I actually thought about adding a little bit of this gold yellow burnt orange color into his eyes. And that's because I thought, you know what? Just a tad, mix it into the yellow or into the green. Give his eyes that kind of gleamy, sparkly, dangerous looking look, right? That's my thought. So I'm gonna do it. Here it goes, right here. Tad right there. Not much, don't need much. Just gonna add, it's just to add a little sparkle to his eyes, In case you're interested, that's what it looks like. Kind of a goldish color. So we're going to take this and a little bit of this, just to sparkleize his eyes a little bit. Still seems kind of wet though. Enough that brush feels like it's leaving too much water behind. I don't want to leave water behind if I can help it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that definitely looks better. It's definitely leaving it with a sparkly effect. Is it saying all that shimmers is not gold? Yeah, I like it. Okay, so now I'll just put that black down the middle line, down the middle of his eye to get that pupil effect. The pupil going. But let's let that dry a bit. So let's go ahead and put some claws down. Get his claws a little colored up. I do have some gray wash, which I might like to use. Simply because, again, I'm trying to not totally cover the... It's not wash, it's contrast paint. I don't want to completely cover the green that's underneath. Just because I want it to shine through just a little bit. I want his claws to have a, you know, kind of a green, you know, like the green tone of his... Where did I put that? Did I put that here? Gotta figure out where I put color. Yeah, that's it. Okay. And then we'll just cover up his claws here. Just enough to... I think that's where it was. Wasn't that it? I don't know. I feel like that was it. Can't tell. Huh. Maybe that was it. I'm confused. Where did I put my paint? I don't have any primer on this guy either, so I can't paint the top of my lid. Alright. Knocking bottles over everywhere I go here. Alright, try again. Here's put a little bit of primer here. And then we'll put this. This Grave Lord Gray. Right next to it. I don't know, because I can't tell what I put down over there. I think it's the same color, but I couldn't quite figure it out, so let's make sure. This is me just being distracted for a moment, but you know, this is one of those slow things. You can either do it all at once, which means a painting session dedicated to painting lids, or you do it periodically when you're thinking about it. And that's the best time to do it. So you're not dedicating paint sessions to painting lids. That kind of works. Kind of works just like I want. See, I want it dark like it should be. Like the claws are not quite the same. They're more of a nail, but I wanted them also to have kind of that something naily looking appearance. And that's what we're getting, it looks like. So I went camping. Well, I didn't go camping. All right, I went to our camping retreat, which me and wife and I actually stayed in town and slept in a motel or a hotel. We stayed at the Red Lion, and so I wanted to go to the camping retreat because, well, I won our horseshoe tournament that they do there every year when they do this retreat last year and the year before, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go back and try to defend my title. I won again. I won horseshoes for the third consecutive year, and now everybody's like, dude, you're on this trophy like 5 times. I'm like, yeah, sorry about that. Sorta, kinda. Sorry, not sorry. So, yeah. And they randomly pair you with people. So, you have a partner. So it's not like I'm just winning these tournaments because I'm just so good. I've just been lucky and I've had good partners, you know. Yeah, and oh man, but my partner carried my sorry butt for the first couple of games, big time, big time. I mean, like he kept me in the games, and we were close enough. We actually lost once. Well, we won against this one team. Okay, beat them 16-14, or no 15-13, and they that was the highest scoring losing team, or they were tied for the highest scoring losing team, so they had to throw off with the other team that scored because they were taking the highest loser to the next round. So they had to throw off, and they made it to the next round, which happened to be playing us again because the other round had already started because we were last. So we had to play them again. So we basically beat them and then had to play them again, and then we lost to them 16-14. And so we're like, oh, but apparently they were still taking highest loser to the next round because they were trying to keep they had to have teams to play. So we got a reprieve because there was the next team down had 13 points, so we had the highest and we basically eliminated them by virtue of having the higher losing record or losing score. So we got the next round. Where we played another team, and that game I think we won like 15-12 or something. I mean, it was, and then we went to the finals. Okay, so we went to the finals, and we almost had to play that first team a third time. They lost barely. They lost like 15-14. Yes, I know it's not win by 2. It's supposed to be win by 2, but they were trying to keep things moving, so they decided not to. So there was just 15 points. Only in the final were they going to go even. And as such, we were only going to 15. As you know, if you know anything about horseshoes, it goes to 21 most of the time. So yeah, that was also different, but because we had 20 teams and they didn't want to be doing it all day long, so we had a hey Savinicus. Then he rolled you. What do you mean rolled you? Did we play you guys? Were you the team that we played right before the finals? Oh yeah, because we eliminated yeah, that's right. I think we eliminated you. That's right. Yeah, Savinicus was there. He was the other guy, or another guy that uh, was with me at this thing, and so we were hoping for a repeat grudge match with the other team, but it didn't happen because they lost, and of course they couldn't carry them over to the final. That would not work. So it was just us, and then we played this other team that had beat them, and we destroyed them. It was like 21-5 or something like that. And every single one of my horseshoes was landing right next to or even on the pin. So I was on a roll. Finally found it. Took me 4 games to figure out how to throw again, but this time my partner didn't have to carry me all the way through. Right, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so his team actually, Savinicus and another guy there were running the tournament. I mean, he was helping. He was helping out run the tournament. The other guy runs it, but he was helping him. And so they were paired up too. So they were playing us. Didn't go as well there. It was still pretty good though. I mean, you guys scored pretty good in that game too, didn't you? You scored like 12 points, I think it was. Not like we destroyed you or anything. But in the final, they were playing the cancellation scoring, and I kept. So one of the guys I was playing against in the final, his name's Casey. He's one of the guys who plays in the D&D that I run. And I told him right before the tournament, I shook his hand, I said, hey, good luck, and say, remember, I'm your DM. Because, the whole don't get your DM angry kind of thing. It's like he just kind of laughed. But, all right, I'm warning you. But no, it was all good. It was a good time. We had fun. $2.30, huh? That's not too bad. I think we got home. We got on the road back about, I want to say 9:30. Yeah, maybe it was a little later. But, yeah, we got back home by, I want to say 1 o'clock at the latest. It was like 12:45. Traffic, of course, was terrible in Leavenworth. But, we made it. So, all right. So I think I'm about done with this guy for the most part. Now I think I just need to finish his base. I want to put some trees on his base. And so I bought these new trees. And I'm going to try to put them on his base so that, so these things. Yeah, I really have that zoomed. I don't know how to zoom that. I could read that from a mile away. So I bought these trees so to kind of give it a sense of scale, right? This guy's pretty big. So I was going to put these trees down around him. Put a few of them on there. One or two kind of behind and in front. Maybe a couple smaller ones. And then, thought maybe give some green highlight to the ground so it's not all dirt, and throw some bushes down on there too. I don't have a lot of bushes, shrubbery. I don't want to put too many. I mean, I have a lot of trees, but if I put them all on him, it would be, kind of hide it too much. So let's get my light green. Yeah, you were a little behind us, but yeah, you got. Now you went back Highway 2 as well. I didn't see if you said which way you went. Let's go with this yellow green. You know what? I actually have yellow green now. So in order to do that, I'm just going to take a dry brush here. This might not be green enough. Let's put a little Viper green in there. Oh, you went 90. Well, I could believe it. There was definitely a serious pause once we got into like Sultan and stuff. It was pretty terrible. we were moving seriously. It said it was 2 hours slower. Jeez, that's way slower. I didn't realize it was that bad. So when you do this, you do kind of want to get it into the bristles pretty good. So it's on a lot of bristles. But the thing is, so even when you take off the bulk of the paint, it still has there we go. Trying to make the dirt look a little bit, make it look a little bit drier, not so muddy. And then probably could do, like I said, it could probably go with more green on top. But I don't know if I'm getting the green effect I'm looking for. I'm looking for like a lighter green, like a grass green, but I'm having trouble finding a color that's meets my grass green criteria. This yellow is, this green ain't quite cutting it. Oh, 30 minutes. It said 2 was 30 minutes. Oh, Highway 2 was 30 minutes slower. Oh, okay. I was thinking it said 2 hours and 30 minutes slower. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. Plus, if for you it's a little bit different too, because you got to go further south from Highway 2, because you're farther down. You're farther down south from coming in from Monroe, so it's a longer drive for you. Where 90's closer to you. So I too oftentimes says it's a little faster for us, but that's because we're farther north. To get on Highway 2, it's faster because 90's actually a little ways away. Yeah, see, that green is barely even showing through. It's too dark for this thing here. So there is a way to get grass on here, and I'm going to try that one next. That's my next strategy. Hold on just a second here. As soon as I get this guy cleaned off, I will do my next strategy for getting some grass on here. Getting a grass here looking, along with some trees. Okay, so we're going to try to get some grass on here. Now I have to put down a couple of ways to do this. Probably just put super glue down, I guess. And then I have this stuff. It's basically grass. Looks like grass. I'm just trying to think of the best way to do this. So I don't want to put this everywhere, but I got to put a little bit. So I will put it in like patches in different places. And really I just want it to be kind of sporadic. Don't want it everywhere, but just enough that when I put down like patches, see what that does. Okay, so it's not everywhere on this. It's just got like a lot of those spots. And then I'm going to take my grass. See which one is my better grass. I got dried grass. It's like farming grass there. That's not too bad. Or I can go with something a little bit more green grassy. Do a little bit of both. I don't know. Let's just throw some stuff on. So you just grab this stuff. You just kind of sprinkle it on. Ugh. And maybe I'll even throw some of this darker grass on there. Why not? I don't even know where I put the super glue, so I'm really just kind of dropping grass, hoping for decent landings. And then what I'll do is I'll take that, and we'll just well, I gotta close this though, because I don't want I don't want grass falling all inside of all my paint. Let's go like that. And then we'll pick this guy up and we'll just kind of tap him, kind of move the grass I put in there. It's probably not quite enough, huh? Probably not quite enough. Which is fine. I can put more. It's always better to do too little than too much at the beginning. Let's go ahead and, you know what? I'm going to use this stuff. Way thicker. It's going to go a lot farther. But the thing is, it'll create piles because of the gloops and glops. It'll actually create blobs where you'll have taller grass, right? I mean, I don't want it to completely cover my mud, but at the same time, I don't want it to be like just mostly, you know, I want it to be a lot of grass too. Phew. Burning my eyes, man. I get that stinky grass smell. Alright. Just use the same grass I was using before, huh? No point in reusing. And you just kind of... Maybe I don't got so aggressive with the removal. Thing is, I didn't really I don't put any on the edges because I'm like for some reason I'm afraid that the edges don't need grass, but that's not right. Should have grass. Why wouldn't there be grass on the edge of the world? So what the best way to do this is oftentimes, so you put the stuff on generously and it's really kind of hard to do sometimes. Like if you can, like what I'll do with a small mini is I'll just put the stuff on him and then I tuck him into the grass and just shake it around, just totally cover it, and then you can knock off all the extra. But with a big mini like this, I can't do that very easily, so I gotta. And so I have a lot of this on here, but hopefully once it's all done. I think that's enough of that grass though. Where's the other grass? Use this one. Alright, so that's enough of the grass. It's not going to stay like that. Fortunately, most of that's going to come off, but it's alright. Just kind of patting it down so some of the grass that does want to stick will stay in the glue. And then we'll knock off all the extra. And then I have to put my trees on. So with the trees, I'm going to probably just use the same stuff that I had before, and I'll just tack some on all around it. Maybe I'll have to scrape off some grass too. There you go. That don't look so bad. Just gotta figure out how to pick up my other grass here. But that's the big thing. I would have liked to got more underneath his belly, but it's really hard to get the glue under there. Yeah. Then I want to try to see if I can spread it out a little bit with this, because couldn't quite. I mean, just put a couple of glops under there, but yeah, I have to take it off quick too, so it'll stick. That's better. Got a little bit more in there. Okay, so now we got to try to get the trees on there. Trees will be a little tricky because I may have to scrape some spots, but I think we'll be all right. So I'm going to use my same earth brown, and what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to put clumps of it in places, and then I'm going to stick my trees in it. So it'll be kind of like he's walking through trees. That's the goal. I think he's pretty much done. I got to make sure he's done because I can't really change him once I've got brushed trees in the way. So what I might do is let that dry for a moment. Yeah, it's definitely patchy for sure. You can see this is kind of what he's looking like so far. And then I'll add a couple of trees. I'm thinking 3 or 4 will be good, just to kind of make it look like he's walking through the trees. And then yeah, we're pretty much done. But I want to put some varnish, some glossy varnish on his back. Because I want it to be a little shiny, because he's a lizard, and lizards kind of have that kind of glossy look, you know. And I'm not going to put it in his hair things, so I'm just going to kind of like put it around the tops of his legs and his arms, maybe over the top of his head. I got to get this stuff cleaned up, because it's going to bug me. I should vacuum it, because if I clean it up any other way, it's going to end up on the floor. And I'll be vacuuming that. And this little pad of mine is not really all that smooth, to be honest. And I don't know if I want to waste this now that I think about it. Maybe I'll just put that in something. I have a little baggie here, or I could even stick it into one of those into another one of my little containers. It's a mixed color, so I don't know if I want to put it in with the original. Get it back. I have another little container I can stick it in here, which work just fine for my purposes. That'll work. All right, now the rest of it I can just do whatever. Oh yeah. For now, we'll leave it. I'm not going to worry about it. And then we will get that black line down his eyeball for pupil. I'm not brushing too wet because I don't want this to spread. I want it to go right where I put it and nowhere else. Oops. Where's my light, my headlight? There you go. Got his pupil painted. Yep. I don't know. I don't think I have much else to do. I was looking online. I think the colors are pretty close to what he's supposed to be. He's pretty much matching. Now we can do the varnish on his alright. Sponge is losing its water. You can tell because the paper's drying out. Oops, dang it. That's messed up paint. Well, it's way watered. Probably a bit more than I want. Alright, that's good. So let's go ahead and do my varnish. Alright, so this is the varnish I'm going to use. Army Painter's varnish. I have some crappy brushes for this. You don't want to use nice brushes doing varnish. Any kind of brush you think is nice, don't use it. So it will wreck your brush. You want to clean it off absolutely immediately if you don't want it to be totally toast, because it will go to totally toast as an option. It will turn into hard yuck. So yeah. On the upside too, doing it this way is now, a lot of times I like to spray varnish on with like a hairbrush or whatever, but I don't really want to get it in his hair. I don't want his hair to have the glossiness that his skin does. So for me, it's like, let's let his skin get the lizardy effect, shiny lizard effect, but not his hair. I'm also trying to avoid those horns. I don't think horns, they're bone, right? Bones aren't shiny. Now I still want to put like a varnish on the other stuff, but like I'll use a matte varnish or a satin varnish or something like that, just so that it doesn't have the gloss that his skin will have. Whew, that glue is still on there and it's getting in my eyes. For all you kids out there learning to paint, yeah, use a mask or something if you're going to work with glue. If you're going to be breathing that junk in, it's probably a good idea to use a mask. You don't want to. I mean, yeah, if you're only doing one thing like I did, maybe it's a little. But if you're going to do a lot of glue stuff, wear a mask. Keep those fumes from going straight up your sinuses. That's my public service announcement for today. Just take a little precaution with your health there. Never a bad idea to be a little cautious with some stuff. Alright, so now he's got his lizardy look. Hopefully it'll dry mostly with a little bit of sheen. I mean, it'll fade a little as it dries, but overall it should be pretty shiny when it's done on his skin. And then, yeah, I think we're getting pretty close. I feel like there's probably something I missed. You can, if you miss something while painting with varnish or anything else, you can go back. So it's not like you can't paint over varnish. Just keeping that in mind. It's not like you're gonna be, oh no, it's varnish. It's blocking my paint. No, it doesn't work that way. Varnish won't hurt your ability to continue painting it. It just it might maybe have a little effect on how it's. On the sheen of your paint, like if you don't want it to be shiny all of a sudden, it's going to kind of shine through a little, so you gotta be careful with that, but otherwise you should be alright. Alright, so I got my lizardy look going, shiny body, and then let's go ahead and throw some, I don't know, matte varnish on his other parts just for general protection. When you do put varnish on, it obviously will protect the piece a little bit more. Helps you to I get his lip here. I got a little white on his lip. See, going back and fixing something right now. Fixing some of my, where I was doing his teeth, I think I got a little bit of, I touched the lips a little bit too much. And you know what? I'm even going to go over this spot right here. Yeah. Minor adjustments, very minor, but enough that I just felt it necessary. Okay, so now let's go ahead and see what I can do with those trees, shall we? Okay, so this is going to be an interesting little endeavor. I've never done this before either. Constantly. Kinda. Well, remember, he's a lizard, so when you look at lizards, a lot of times they have that kind of wet skin look. And that's kind of what I'm going for there. So I didn't want it on his hair, so it doesn't have that. I want to put like a matte varnish there. But I want his skin to have that wet skin look. And it's going to dry some and it'll fade a little bit, but it's still going to be pretty shiny. And then hopefully I think it kind of meets my expectation. And ultimately, if anything, it ever just like looks a little too much, you can always go over it with a coat of like a satin or a matte varnish and it'll dull it just a little bit. But yeah, varnish is kind of like a nail polish. It's the coating you put over a nail polish, right? You put nail polish varnish over the top that protects the paint and makes it stay a little bit better on your fingers. So it's the same thing. Yep, same basic thing. It's almost probably the same. It might even be the same product. I don't know what. It's not like I don't think they're making their own. I don't know if they make. Why would you go out of your trouble to make a special? Go out of your way to make a special varnish? Seems like that would be a waste of time because varnish is varnish is varnish. But who knows? Maybe they do. Where is? I want to put. I want to put a little bit more of. Is it this one? Or do I want to put more of this one? See, his hair on his chin here, I don't know, looks a little too dark. Too, what do you call it? Well, too dark, but too shadowed. It's like his hair should not be that shadowed. It should still look kind of like itself. Making a mess here. That when I spilled that water, kind of got all over the place. But it is just water, but still, kind of made a mess. Oops. I certainly don't want this in there. Okay, back to task. Gotta really knock that junk off, because if you don't, it's gonna be everywhere whenever somebody's using it, because it's gonna keep falling off forever and ever. Where is my... Okay. Now, there's a couple of ways to do this. I could try to use this stuff, which is just a clump of mud. That's really what it is. And so getting it on the tree might be kind of a pain in the rear. The other option is to use liquid green stuff. And then the last option is use actual, well, not the last option, there's a million options. But for me, there's liquid green stuff, which is somewhere. That isn't it. Where'd it go? And, oh, here it is. So this is liquid green stuff. It's thin. You put it into cracks and crevices to fill them in. It's not a lot of body to this, so it's hard to use for forming anything. You'd want to use like an actual green stuff to create like a false thing, or a false lump. Or I could try to use my green earth stuff here, which should work, but it's also going to be a little tricky. We'll see how it goes. So the other, because ultimately, if you look at these trees, let me grab a tree here. These trees. They have these long spikes on them. So I either plan them, I can cut off the spikes and just glue them down, or I can use those spikes and have that go in, which probably is more sturdy than not using the spikes, right? Because if it sits inside the spike. So what I'm probably going to have to do here is put a clump of this stuff down and then put it in up to the spike, and then I either paint over the spike or these are really tall spikes. Really tall spikes. But I figure if I use the spikes, this is going to be a lot more sturdy, a lot less likely to break a tree off than if you don't use the spikes. Because if you don't use them, they're not going to have anything to adhere to. And it's just going to be glue. I mean, yeah, it could work, but I figure this might work better. That's my thought. Just more. Because this stuff dries to be pretty hard, and once it's connected to the base, it's going to be a pretty solid stuck base. Now obviously I'm going to have to make sure I get a full coverage of said spike because I don't want it to show. And then what I'll do is and if I cut off the spike on some, I can make them vary in height. Which trees should vary in height, right? They shouldn't all be the same height. So I gotta get a couple trees in on there. That's one. And I do have taller and various sized trees. They don't all have to be this height, but I want a couple that are pretty tall. Oh, yeah. Definitely the smell of it. It smells like varnish. I don't even know if nail polish. See what color that is? That's how lame. I don't know what color that's supposed to be, but I'm gonna have to paint these a little bit. Probably once they're on, because obviously I'm not gonna. Because I think they should be either more green or more brown, but they shouldn't be whatever that color is. What color is that? That's like, I don't know what that is. I guess palm. Are these palm trees? I guess they are. Maybe they do kind of have a weird green colored trunk. I don't know. Plus, if you put them all kind of next to each other, they will more effectively hold each other up, right? Hey, I got my finger. See, this is why I don't use my finger. So it just doesn't let go of your fingers. Stuff is like the thing is I don't have two of these things to fiddle with. Besides, I have to kind of paint that base, right? So, because this stuff, I don't want to leave it looking like this. It's got to be kind of muddy. Or I want to paint it to be kind of similar to the bottom of the tree. What I might do is try to fill in some of the cracks after I've let it dry, because I don't want to keep messing with it because it keeps moving around the other stuff. Let it dry a little bit, and then you can stick more in wherever you want it, and then it'll dry up there. Because this is like tricky to get to stick. And then we'll try to get another one back here, I think by his other foot. Almost would be good to have one like right in front of him. But, you know, it look like he's plowing through the trees, not just finding a path. But, might be more work than it's worth. That's a lot of glump. So one of the reasons my son wanted me to paint this one is because he looks like a basilisk, and you know that makes him playable in other games. D&D has basilisks and all that stuff. So the idea is that he can get this guy out for other things, not other than just his game that he plays. Other than just the game it comes in. Clean this crap off my tool and close my bottle up. So there you go so far. I do got to try to paint these trees a little bit. Like I said, I want them to be a little bit less, I don't know, put a little more brown in them. And try to keep my tree from being crooked as much as possible. But yeah, he's coming out. He's starting to look a little bit like he's ready to come upon some what do you call it? Unawares adventurers and wreck their day. But for now, I'm taking a break. Time for me to stop. What, his hair? What are you referring to? What is skin color? Oh, the tree trunk. Yeah, the tree trunk is weird. I don't like the tree trunk. But I'll paint them. I'll go over them with some kind of green or brown, or maybe even some contrast paint to at least get some contrast, because it's all just like one weird green. If I go over it with like a brown contrast paint, that'll pop the detail a little bit, and it'll help it to, I don't know, look more natural. That's kind of the goal there. And then I'll do the same thing when I go over the bases. Maybe I'll throw some bushes around the bases so they look a little bit more hidden. I'll just throw some various little things around there. I have some small stuff in here too, but these are like smaller trees. One actually looks like a pineapple tree. But I don't know how much I'll go into that. But anyway. Yeah. Savinicus, thanks for stopping by, man. Hey, I'll be back online again, if not today, tomorrow. So, but I'm gonna go downstairs. It's going on 6 o'clock. I'm gonna go try and eat. My wife Ann and I might watch some movies or something. Until later, take it easy.